but I have all of them. You know, like I said, I'm not coming here with one. Maybe our next one I will. I haven't studied up on that. Just coming today, I'm very anxious, like I said, because nobody's really helped me. And oh yeah, let me tell you what happened with that one therapist I was going through, because I haven't been able to finish that story. You know, I went to therapy with him for about 3 or 4 months, and I started revealing to him some other things, and I was actually starting to think I was actually starting to get someplace with the guy. And then my mom couldn't pay for the therapy anymore. And so, you know, I told the guy, hey, I'm going to have to stop this. And he just kind of like sat there and said, well, you're a cannabis fiend, and if you just stop smoking cannabis, that's all your problems. And then I sat there and I asked him, well, what exactly is it about my cannabis use that, where's your proof? Where is it that the cannabis use triggers this, behavior or whatever? Because, like, I've been taking cannabis for about 11 years now, daily. And it helps me far better than any pharmaceutical I ever took, because I was on a whole regimen of pharmaceuticals before I got out of the Navy, and they didn't help me retain my career.
What medicines were you on, do you remember?
Oh, like Zoloft. I tried, but they had me trying all kinds of weird stuff. None of those really working too well, and and then after I got out of the Navy, I quit all that stuff. I wasn't on medication for 3 years. No medication whatsoever. And maybe that's why I had some of those really radical psychotic or emotional things that prompted me to get fired from my work and shit, because I wasn't on something that would make me less anxious, less aggressive, less thinking the world's, out to get me, or, something like that, paranoia.
Mm-hmm.
Most people say that marijuana makes you paranoid. No, it makes me calm and not paranoid. So, and anyway, he couldn't prove anything. He couldn't sit there and say, well, the cannabis, does this, and that's what makes you do this. He didn't say that. He just said some blanket statement, and, and then I said, well, it helps me to sleep, it helps me to eat, it helps me to take a crap in the morning. That alone is worth it, even if it had some other little side effects, like, a little forgetfulness. But who isn't forgetful? So I can't even really say that maybe that's cannabis, because everybody's kind of forgetful. But sometimes I seem to be more forgetful than others. But I think that maybe has to do with stress and stuff, and anxiety more than cannabis. Because sometimes I can remember things just spot on, and it's amazing. But anyway, I don't know. So, I don't know. And I've never been properly assessed, because you have to go through and be assessed to be properly diagnosed with PTSD. And that's never happened with me. I filled out the, questionnaire for it,
Mm-hmm.
and I have all the symptoms. So, but I don't have it, I guess. You say it.
Well, I'm just not hearing you reporting things that typically people with PTSD report. I am hearing you report anxiety, that you worry about.
Well, explain that then.
Well,
Explain what just happened to me with the picture the other day. How is that not a PTSD symptom?
it is a symptom of PTSD, but you have to have symptoms is, and you have to have a certain number of symptoms to qualify. And
Right.
And so
Right.
that's what I'm not hearing you when I ask.
Well, where's the manual? Let's go down the list. Well, we don't have much time left, but
And so I'll tell you what I have to offer, and you see what you think.
well, I would like to get assessed for PTSD. That's what I would like to see happen. So we can put this to rest. It's, either yes, I have it, no, I don't. Yes, I'm disabled. No, I'm not. I want to get a definitive answer. Nobody's told me. Everybody's alluded to the disability PTSD thing, and that's what this therapist was saying to me. And then when I requested the freaking documents, supposedly, that's not what, that's not supporting what he said that I had. So, there's obviously
Well, I'm sorry, I'm not
he didn't support that with what, he told me that, but that's not what he wrote in his report or whatever. He probably said, just like you, he suffers obviously from anxiety and depression, but he doesn't have PTSD. Well, we never went down the laundry list and determined that. So I don't understand.
So you're expecting to go through the DSM and say, do you have this, do you have that, do you have this, do you have that? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, because I go through it myself, and I go, yep, oh my God, yep. Well, but it says you've got to have these. I've got the predominance of them, and it doesn't matter.
So are you?
I get more relief from spiritual, sources. So, I actually, Karen, don't take it personally. I don't think you have a solution for me. But, if you think you really do, I'm here honestly asking for your help. If you can help me, great. If not, I'll just keep struggling on that.
Well, so what I was trying to tell you is what I think I could do. And that is, it seems like you have grief about your daughter, so I ran off some handouts about grief and how to deal with grief, because it's something that, not that you ever get over losing a child, because I don't think you do, but there's things that you could do to help yourself process that.
Oh, well, yeah, I've been going through that process. It happened.
And the other thing,
Learning how to live with it.
and the other thing that I did run off with some handouts on anxiety, some of the things that you can do to work with your anxiety. So,
Having a job or something would be freaking, or going to school would be nice, if I could get my GI Bill benefits reinstated, that would be really nice. But I don't have a service connection, so I can't claim that kind of waiver, so, I'm not sure how I can try to regain that benefit.
and what do you think is a service-connected disability? I understand that your daughter was killed while you were in the service, but what was the service?
I was in the Navy for 3 years after that. I was an alcoholic. I was still functioning. Still doing good duty. Still had a mindset to stay in the Navy. But I'm suffering from these symptoms. I'm self-medicating. Okay,
Because of what happened to your daughter?
Oh yeah, that happened for 3 years before I even went to treatment. Before I started having really bad suicidal ideation. I was out in the parking lot of a high school, about to go in at 6 o'clock in the morning to give Proctor an ASVAB. And I was just sitting there smoking a cigarette thinking, you know what? I might as well not even go in there and do this. Because nobody appreciates this. And it's a total waste of time for me. I need to find applicants. And most of these kids in here aren't applicants. They're not going to join the Navy. They're not going to join the military. They're just doing this test because the state makes them. And most of them will just color in the test and not even try to take the test. Because it's a military test. They don't want to go in the military. So why don't I just go home and blow my brains out because I don't have all the appointments. It's the 15th of the month. I've only had 5 interviews or 6 interviews. I'm really under the gun. I'm required to do 70 hours of labor this week because of that, because of my bad numbers. Not because I haven't gone out and tried to do it or I was not working, but because the kids don't want to join the military.
Uh-huh.
And that's our prime, well, no, that's our prime, prospects or our young adults. And when the government's giving them free money to go to college, why would you join the military? Anyway. So I was ordered to get out of recruiting. My command ordered a fitness report on me.
Uh-huh.
My psychologist said in no uncertain terms, this man should not be recruiting. You need to find this man a job, not recruiting. Well, I didn't find out about that letter until about a month after it had been sent back to my command. Mm-hmm. And, I take it back to them, and they claim that they don't know about it, and, there's all kinds of obfuscation because of change of command, and all this. But, at the end of the day, ma'am, we've got this letter here that says I shouldn't be recruiting. Well, what do you think I was doing when I left her office that day? Well, I kept recruiting until I got out of the Navy because she refused to obey that direct order of my psychologist. She would not pull any strings to get me a billet to fulfill that order. And it was totally within her prerogative.
It could have been done, but it wasn't.
It could have been done all reasonably. But she didn't want to do it because she needed my 2 people on her, because she wasn't making goal. The whole district wasn't making goal. My recruiting station wasn't making goal. Oh, and why was that? Because we didn't have a qualified leader. The person that was supervising us was just another recruiter. It wasn't a professional Navy recruiter or somebody that had qualified to fulfill that position. So that's the main reason why we were not making goal. We didn't have the correct supervision to instruct and train us to get us to making goal. But we're supposed to do that on our own.
Sound like a very stressful job.
It was totally stressful. You come in at 6 o'clock in the morning, or like that morning. I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to drive to that school, totally out in the middle of nowhere, to go proctor this test for in-grades. And and I'm supposed to produce. I got to still find 2 people, and it's the middle of the month, or I'm going to be in straight hell. I could get wrote up. So, and that's just the thing, and I had to fight for everything, and eventually I had to ask for a humanitarian discharge because they wanted to send me back to the fleet.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, they were going to send me back to the fleet. And the 2 ships that they were going to send me back to, one was already in the Gulf, and the other one, if I had transferred to it, would have been leaving a week after I had arrived. And having a suicidal wife at the time, I didn't think that was a very prudent thing to do. Mm-hmm. Leave her in San Diego in some new community, her being Japanese, or leaving her there in Springfield alone with all them rednecks. No, it was impossible. It was impossible. And So that's why I had to request. And not only that, but nobody in the Navy is helping me to stay in the Navy. You know, they're just telling me, oh, you got to go to the fleet, dude. It's like, dude, I've got a year and a half left of my shore duty, dude. I spent 6 years out at sea to get this 3.5 years shore duty. You know, I'm not like most Navy, because fire controlmen, their weapons only on ships. There aren't very many weapons on shore stations.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lack of billets available for shore duty for us. So we're a seagoing rate. Well, you know, if it's 50-50, you know, if you got a 50-50 rotation, you're halfway through your rotation, hey, that's no big deal. But man, when you have to spend 5-6 years at sea to get 3 years or 2 years freaking shore duty, that's, I don't know, that's pretty punitive. Pretty punitive, especially to do to somebody who's sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's harsh. So you haven't had good experiences with military or with the VA, have you?
Well, the thing with the VA is, when I was a teenager, my good friend Michael McNamara was an Army veteran. He was getting treatment from the VA. And, you know, they had him on all kinds of stuff. And Mike probably needed most of it. But, you know, the biggest thing that and it was a big deal back then because it was like, you know, in the mid-'80s, is cannabis really helped that man. When he was medicated with cannabis, he was clear, non-psychotic. You'd almost think that he was one of the most brilliant people in the world. You could tell him 4-digit numbers, and you could try to punch it into a calculator, and he would tell you the product. Like that. And amazing man. And, you know, he believed coming out of VA hospital one time after, you know, some serious trauma or, you know, drama in his life, his ex-wife told him, you'll never see your children again. And he took her serious. He took all his medicine. All died. You know, took his life. He couldn't even consider that thought. Never seeing his children again. And, you know, and that was before, you know, that was before I even joined the Navy. You know, but the treatment that he got from the VA, because he was really messed up. And he had full service connection and everything. But I just saw what he got for having the cream deal, and I don't know, it didn't seem like all that great of a deal to me, because in the end, the man took his life. You know? So I never, when I got out, and I went through my separation seminar, oh yeah, I knew that if I could walk right across this way and apply for VA treatment. But that was always sticking in my mind, you know. Are they really going to be able to help? And what I just got done with in the Navy, you know, trying to get treatment. It's like, I just need to get away from these people and just be able to maybe do what I'd like to do, and maybe I would be a lot more happier. And I was. You know, eventually I got into trucking, and I did that for like 3 years, and that was really great. I'm glad I did it. But, you know, I can't go back to that job because of the medicine I'm on now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because any job that requires testing, you won't be able to do.
And that's in clear violation of my constitutional rights. So if I'm disabled, then I think, and especially if it's depression or whatever, you know, I think that if that condition was developed while I was in the service, then that would be a service-connected disability. I was under treatment for depression when I left. I developed it while the last 3 years I was in the military, so that would be a service-connected thing. Especially when I was denied treatment for it. That's why I got out.
Well, it seems like you've already got that in progress, right?
Well, no, it's a struggle. I've been trying to prove this for 3 years or whatever. You know, I've had to appeal it like 2 or 3 times, and you know, I keep it. The paperwork I'm supposed to do this afternoon and send back. And it's just very difficult to answer some of these things and to even sit down and write the stuff.
Well,
I mean, I used to be able to sit at the computer and do programming for 6, 8, 12 hours at a stretch. I can't do that anymore. I can barely concentrate on something for an hour.
Makes it harder to get that stuff done.
It's impossible
So,
to get it done that quickly anymore.
when will you, do you know, has your comp and pen been scheduled yet?
No, I need to inquire about that probably. Because I can't miss it this time, because there was a big misunderstanding. They say they sent me a notice and I never got it, and or I would have went.
You want me to look and see if
If you
there's
can, if it has been, because I just got back from Sacramento last week, and
I'm not seeing anything in, unless, is it at the VA San Francisco?
well, I guess that's the way it's being scheduled.
Was yours through Oakland? Are your claims in Oakland or not?
Yeah, or that's just the processing it now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not in our system.
And then there's so many different little systems, and you're in this one, that one.
It's a complicated system, yeah, it really is. So, I want to give you these handouts, and I don't know if it's
Can I get a copy of my chart from Columbus?
You can do that, and
Can I get the request or whatever so I can send it to them so they can send it to me or whatever?
Yeah, we've got, the front desk has that, and they have the form that you fill out to request your medical records, and so we can get that for you at the front desk.
Okay, great. I can get that with the travel reimbursement. Okay.
And did you get a travel form?
Not for this one. I did one for my last.
And you're eligible for the travel benefits?
I filled one out last time, and I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Did they send you a check?
No.
Okay, let me call the travel desk and make sure you're eligible, so it won't waste your time. And so they can look it up in the computer.
I mean, I've had to come here like 3 times, and this is rather...
Yeah, it's a long haul for you. And I can find out. I think that's one thing I can do to help.
Yeah, because I'm doing these under the impression that I'm going to get reimbursed.
Yeah, that's important to know.
And if I'm not, then I need to plan accordingly. Yeah, especially if they're not going to honor the last one. But the receptionist gave me the form and everything, and she signed it. Isn't that authorization? Or does that have to be done through...
She's just verifying that you turned the form in.
Oh, or that I was here or whatever.
Yeah, so we just got to make sure, because if you're eligible, I've got the form and I can help you with that. Or I'll fax it in instead of emailing it, so it goes right to the travel desk.
Okay.
That's how I like to do it, because then I make sure that it doesn't get lost in the mail or whatever. I keep coming along. Could you connect me to the travel desk? Hi, this is Kathy from the Eureka Doc, and I was just wondering if you could check if somebody's eligible for travel benefits for me really quick. Yes. And his name is M3858.